Alright everybody, today we are looking at a little bit of a special installation for the HyperX Alpha S headphones. There's been quite a few requests on how to install the nylon ear pads compared to the original leathery ear pads. So the big difference between the nylon version and the PU version of the ear pads is a couple things. One, the PU version, they're larger. Slightly larger, so you can see the edges around the side are hanging over here a little bit. It doesn't seem like much, but it is actually quite a bit, and it will be harder to install the ear pads. Now the actual back of the ear pads is different as well, because there's a plastic rim in the back of the Alpha S PU leather ones, and that is a little bit more annoying to install, but on the back of the nylon ones there is no plastic. What makes this harder to install is that they're smaller and you got to stretch them more, and every time you have to stretch them more as you get closer to the finish of installing them. There's more tension, so it's harder to get it into the last bit of the slot, and it's also higher possibility of it coming out somewhere else while you're doing it. Alright, so let's look at what we have before we get into trying to install the ear pads. So here's the face of the speaker, and on the sides you're going to see this little slot. And that little slot is where this skirting on the back of this pad, or this skirting on the back of the nylon pad, is going to fit into. And as you go around the ear pad attaching it, you should eventually have it hugging in place like that. Okay, so removing the ear pads is nice and easy. All you're going to do is just take your finger and your thumb, pinch the ear pad, and just pull and peel over. Pull and peel over. That's that. Alright, so before we try to put the ear pad on, we want to kind of do a couple things ahead of time to make it a higher chance of success. So first things first is look at the ear pad and find this little stitching. That means that's the bottom of the ear pad. Now obviously the top and the bottom, it looks exactly the same, so when you're installing it on the headphones, you just want to get it on, and afterwards you can just kind of rotate it into place. Don't worry about trying to get that on the bottom straight away or exactly in place. Now the first thing you want to do with these ear pads is look at the skirting on the back. Now the skirting is designed to be quite strong. This is the original Alpha S nylon ear pad. I haven't made this one, so I can't speak to the quality of the ear pad and the skirting. I'm assuming it is strong based on what I've seen. So the first thing we want to do is you're going to want to stretch it. So we're going to stretch it along the actual PU, or along the actual skirting, just pulling it with our fingers all the way around like that. That is going to give us that extra bit of give when we go to put it onto the headphones. As you can see, I'm doing it with about medium strength, and it's not ripping. Now after I've gone around and done that, I also want to do this. Left to right, top to bottom, and then you can even try it on angles, just all over it basically, just to stretch it in place. The last thing is you want to see here, you can see there's a bit of a lip that's been created. You want to have a bit of that lip, because that's how you're going to get the skirting into the slot to start the actual installation. Okay, so we have stretched out our ear pad and we have our little lip. If you don't have a lip, you can just fold it over a bit like that, and then it creates one. And now we're going to try and install it. So first thing we're going to do is get that lip into the top of the corner here, and then we're going to hold that in place. And now we're just going to take our fingers and go underneath the foam and the ear pad, lifting up and into the slot. Now your left hand, or in my case my left hand, is important because I want to hold this thing in place, because as I go around and start getting more and more of the ear pad in place, it's going to get tighter and tighter, and then you're going to be pulling a bit harder and harder, and then you might have it slip out the other side. So up and in and in. There we go. Looking good. I'm at the top. And it's on. Now that I've done that, I'm just going to look around the sides, make sure that all the skirting is into the slot. Looks like it is. And then I'm just going to look down here at the bottom, and I can see the stitchings there. and it's pretty much in the right spot. So got lucky on that one. Right, number 2. So you have to stretch this one again. The stretching is the most important part. It makes it 100 times easier. If you just go at it straight away without stretching it, that's most likely why there's a lot of people who are saying that it's much harder to install these. It is, they are smaller, but that stretching is the big difference maker. Right, let's see. So, put that in there. Whoops. Right, that one's in. Slots are all done, looking good. The bottom little stitching here is out of whack, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist it like that, and it's sorted out. Right, so if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. If you have done the stretching, as I showed earlier, and you still cannot get the ear pad on, you have a couple things that you can try. The first thing you can try is getting a hand iron, and you're gonna get a towel and put it over top of the ear pad, and you're just gonna steam it right in there and keep steaming it. You can do it for maybe 5-10 seconds and press it, and then you're going to stretch it after that. That heat's gonna help you make the skirting expand, and you should be able to stretch it further. If you don't have a hand iron, you can also use the steam from a kettle. It's obviously not as direct, but you can just hold it over the mouth of the kettle and just gradually rotate it. You'll have to watch your fingers though, because the steam is hot. There is one other thing that I can say that does help with the installation, and that is if you are finishing the installation on the bottom of the headphone, because there's no arm in the way. And you can pull more, and there's just nothing in the way of your hand, just more space. Now, when I did the installation, I finished at the top. That's just how it worked out, and because I've done it so many times, it's not a problem for me. But if you're struggling, try and get it so that you're finishing down here as much as possible.